The 21st of September 1952, Anneliese Michel enjoyed the life of a normal, religiously natured young girl. Without warning, her life changed on a day in 1968 when she began shaking and found she was unable to control her body. She could not call out for her parents, Joseph and Hannah, or any of her three sisters. A neurologist the physiologic clinic in Wolfsburg diagnosed her with grand mal epilepsy. Because of the strength of the epilepsy fits, the severity of the depression that followed, Anneliese was admitted for treatment at a hospital. Soon after the attacks begun, Anneliese started seeing devilish grimacing during her daily praying. It was the fall of 1970, and while the young people of the world were enjoying liberal freedom of the time, Anneliese was battling with beliefs that she was possessed. It seems that there was no other explanation for the appearance of devilish visions during her prayers. Voices also began following her, saying Anneliese strew straw in hell. She mentioned the demons to the doctors, only once explained that they stated to give her orders. The doctors seemed unable to help Anneliese, lost hope that the medical free. Her parents visited different pastors to request an exorcism. Their requests were rejected, and they were given recommendation that now 20 years old Anneliese should continue with the medication and the treatment. It was explained that the process by which the church proves a possession is strictly defined until all criticisms are met. A bishop cannot approve an exorcism. The required to name a few include an aversion to religion, subjects speaking in a language the person has never learned, and supernatural powers. In 1974, after supervising Anneliese for some time, Pastor Ernest Alft requested a permit to perform an exorcism from the Bishop of Warsaw. The request was rejected, and a recommendation soon followed saying that Anneliese should live even more of a religious style in order to find peace. The attacks did not diminish, and her behaviour became more erratic. At her parents' house in Klingenberg, she insulted, beating, and began biting the other members of her family. She refused to eat because the demons would not follow it. Anneliese slept. She refused to eat spiders, flies, and coals, and even begun drinking her own urine. She could be heard screaming throughout her house for hours while breaking crucifixes, destroying paintings of Jesus, and pulling apart roses. Anneliese began committing acts of self-mutilation at this time, and the act of tearing her clothes and urinating on the floor come place after making an excess of vindication of her possession in 1975. The Bishop of Warsaw, Joseph Sagel, assigned Father Arnold Rentz and Pastor Ernst Half with the order to perform the Great Exorcism on Anneliese Michel. The base for this ritual was the ritualizing of the Romanium, which was still at the time a valid common law. From the 17th century, it demanded that Anneliese must be saved from the possession of several demons, including Lucifer, Judas is Iscariot, Nero, Cain, Hitler, and the Freshman, a disgraced Frankish priest from the 16th century, and some other demanded souls which were manifested through her. From 1975 until July 1976, one of 2 exorcism sessions were held each week. Anneliese attacks were sometimes so strong that she would have to be held down by 3 men or even chained up during this time. Anneliese found her life somewhat returned to normal, as she could not again go to school, take final examinations at the Psychiatric Academy in Warsaw, and go to church. The attacks, however, did not stop. In fact, she would become more often find herself paralysed and falling unconscious. Then, before the examination could continue over many months, always with the same prayers and incantations. Sometimes family members and visitors like one married couple claimed to have discovered Anneliese would be present during the ritual for several weeks. Anneliese denied all food. Her knees rebuked during the 600 genuflections she performed obsessively during her daily exorcisms. Over 40 audio tapes were recorded in that process in order to present the details. The last day of exorcism rite was on the June the 30th in 1976. Anneliese was suffering at this point from paranoia. She also totally immersed by running a high fever. Exhausted and unable to physically perform the genuflections herself, her parents stood in and helped carry her throughout the motions. Beg for absolute is the last statement Anneliese made to the exorcist. To her mother, she said, "Mother, I'm afraid." Anneliese Michel recorded the death of her daughter on the following day, 1st of July 1976, at noon. Pastor Ernest Helt informed the authorities in Haskreftburg. The senior prosecutor began investigation immediately. A short time before these final events unfolded, William Friedkin's The Exorcist in 1974 came to the cinema in Germany, beginning in the wave of paranormal hysteria that folded in the nation. The physical usage all over Europe recorded an increase of obsessed ideas among their patients. Prosecutor took more than 2 years to take Anneliese's case to court, using that time to sort through the bizarre facts. Anneliese's parents and 2 exorcists were accused of negligent and homicide. The Kingslesbury case would decide upon 2 questions: the cause of death of Anneliese Michel and who was responsible. According to the forensic evidence, Anneliese starved to death. Specializes claims that if the accused would have begun with forced feeding 1 week before her death, Anneliese's life would have been saved. One sister told the court that Anneliese did not want to go to a mental home where she would be separated and forced to eat. The exorcist tried to provide the pressure of the demons, playing tapes recordings of strange delusions, like two demons arguing about which one of them would have to leave Anneliese's body first. One of the demons called himself Hitler and spoke with a Frankish accent. Hitler was born in Austria, not one of those present during the exorcism. We even had a doubt about the authorities of the pressure of these demons. The physicians who had being ordered to testify by the court spoke about demonic inclusions. They said that the priest provided Anneliese with content of her physical behaviour. Consequently, they claimed that she later accepted her behaviour as a form of demonic possession. They also offered that Anneliese's unsettled sexual development, along with her diagnosed temporal lobe epilepsy, had influenced the psychotics. The verdict was considered by many as not as harsh as they expected. Anneliese's parents, as well as the exorcism, were found guilty of manslaughter resulting from negligent, and admissions first said that they were sentenced to 6 months in jail. Probations. The verdict included the opinion of the court. Accused said they had helped by taking care of the medical treatment the girl needed, but insisted they were used of naive practice, aggravated Anneliese's already poor condition. A commission of the German bishop covering later declaring that Anneliese Michel was not possessed. However, this did not keep believers from supporting her struggles, and it was because so many believed in her that Anneliese's body did not find peace with death. Her corpse was exhumed 11.5 years after her brutal, only to confirm that it had declared, as would have been expected under normal circumstances. Today, her grave remains a place of pilgrimage for rosy prayers and those who believe that Anneliese Michel's bravely fought the devil. In 1999, Cardinal Medine Estevez presented journalists in Vatican City the new version of the Ritual Romano that has been used by the Catholic Church since 1614. The update came after 10 years of editing it, called The Exorcism of the Supernatural Dehydrated, otherwise known as the Exorcism of Upcoming Millennium. The Pope adopted the new exorcism rite, which is now allowed for worldwide use. This new form of exorcism came after the German bishop convened demanded the ultimate abolish of the ritual